So as I sit down to record this, I think it's been approximately 2 weeks since the Edmonton Oilers postseason finally ended. Definitely didn't end the way that anybody else wanted it to. It ended in a, last year, the Edmonton Oilers postseason began and ended with a first round sweep by the Winnipeg Jets. This year it concluded with a third round sweep in the Western Final by the Colorado Avalanche. Definitely not the result that anybody wanted, but honestly, I'm at peace with it. And I think that I'm definitely at peace with this, much more so than what Calgary Flames fans are with the way that their team got knocked out in the second round. Almost as if to make that point, yesterday there was one Calgary Flames fan who actually spent the entire day, this weird obsessive doofus basically spent the whole day trying to send me threats on Twitter, trying to spoil Father's Day or something, which was really weird because actually I was at a car show, so mission failed, buddy. But speaking for myself and for a lot of other people, I can't really think of a worse way to cope with being knocked out of the playoffs than to actually taunt the team that knocked you out of the playoffs that they were knocked out of the playoffs by a different team. In fact, by a different team that your team probably wouldn't have beaten anyway. That's a super weird flex. I don't think that I understand that. I don't think that there's any better way out there to possibly, I don't think there's even any possible better way to basically establish yourself as a beta male than to be taunting the guys that knocked you out because they got knocked out in a later round by a better team. Yeah, that's so bizarre. I'm kind of sad, really. Speaking from the perspective that a lot of fans, I think, really need to stop and remember, is that there was a part of this season when a lot of people didn't think that the Edmonton Oilers were actually going to make the playoffs at all, let alone be in the Final Four. Now, personally speaking, I didn't know all along that they were going to go to the Western Final. But I did know all along that they were going to make the playoffs as soon as they overcame the adversity that was plaguing them in mid-season. I told everybody all along this team was going to make the playoffs. They did make the playoffs. There were even a lot of Oilers fans that couldn't wrap their heads around that at that point. And once they got into the playoffs, I thought to myself, they're going to win at least a round. If the stars align just right, they could go much, much deeper than that. And honestly, drawing Calgary in the second round was definitely not my idea of the stars aligning just right. To be honest with you, my preference of a second round opponent would have been the Dallas Stars. Not just because I really want to see Edmonton beat Dallas in the playoffs again, for reasons that anybody who was a fan throughout the 90s or the 2000s are very, very sadly familiar with. But also because it would have been fantastic to have home ice again in the second round. And sure, we didn't get that, but you know what? We did get to beat Calgary. Even though Calgary won the division this year, the Edmonton Oilers are the Battle of Alberta champions for 2022. Nothing wrong with that. Can't feel bad about that.